Hello students. In this video, I will show you how to compute probabilities of binomial experiments. I have a question here. The stem of a question says, in a poll, the Gallup organization found that 45% of adult Americans believe that the overall state of moral values in the United States is poor. Suppose a survey of random 25 adult Americans is conducted in which they are asked to disclose their feelings on the overall state of the moral values in the United States. And we want to answer the following questions. Now, before we answer the following questions, this is how I will approach this question. First, I want to create a probability table that I can rely on to answer each one of these questions. So I will go to the question and I will highlight two very important details. The first one is the probability. The second one is the sample size. And I'm going to use this information to create my probability table right here. So let's get started. Now I will go here and I will start my X values from 0 because there is a possibility that none of the people surveyed will believe that the moral values in the United States is poor. And it could be 1 or 2 or all of them. So my X values is going to be from 0 to 25. So I'm going to type in 0, 1, 2. And then instead of typing everything, I will highlight the 3 values. And then I will go to the corner and then populate from there. What Excel will understand is it will understand that it has to follow that pattern. That means it's going to fill that automatically without you needing to type in any other information. So I will do that. So I have 25 values in this case, and now I want to create the probabilities. I will use the binomial because this is a binomial experiment. So I will use the binomial distribution function, which is this one. And it's asking about the numbers that is starting with 0. So I'm going to click on the cell that has 0 and then comma. The number of trials is 25, which is the sample size. And then the probability is 0.45. You notice here we turned percent into a decimal because you can't work with percentages. So you have to turn it into a decimal before you're able to use it. And then we're going to choose the false because we don't want the probabilities to add up. We don't want it to be cumulative. We want the probability of each of those x's to be in front of it. So the probability of 0 is going to be that number, and the probability of 1 is going to be in front of it, and etc. We don't want to accumulate any of these and add them up. There is no meaning to that in this specific question. Now let's answer each part. Part A says, find the probability that exactly 15 of those surveyed feel the state of moral values is poor. That is exactly the probability of X is equal to 15, which is going to be equal to this number right here in front of X is equal to 15. Next, find the probability that no more than 10 of those surveyed feel the state of moral values is in the United States is poor. So that means, what is the probability that no more than 10, meaning 10 or less, people who are surveyed feel that the state of moral values in the United States is poor? So that is exactly the probability of X is less than or equal to 10. To compute that, you're going to find the sum of all of the probabilities from X is equal to 0 to X is equal to 10. And that is the answer to second part. The third part, C, find the probability that more than 16 of those surveyed feel the state of the moral values in the United States is poor. So that is exactly the probability of X is greater than 16, not including the 16. So that is exactly adding all of the numbers from 17 to 25. The probability is from 17 to 25. And we will get to that probability right here. Then number D, or part D, find the probability that 13 or 14 believe that the state of moral values is poor. So that is exactly the probability of 13. or 14, which is equal to the probability of 13 plus the probability of 14. So we're going to find the sum of the probability of 13 and the probability of 14 together. And that is the answer to part D. Lastly, would it be unusual to find 20 or more adult Americans who believe that the overall state of moral values is poor in the United States, and why? To find if it's unusual or not, we have to compute the probability of finding 20 or more adult Americans who believe the overall state of moral values in the United States is poor. So that is the probability of X is greater than or equal to 20, which is going to be equal to, I'm going to add all of the probabilities from 20 to 25 together. If you look at the probability is very small. It's approximately 0.04%, which is very tiny. So I would say, yes, it is unusual to find 20 or more adult Americans who believe the overall state of moral values in the United States is poor. Why did I say yes? Because the probability is very slim or very small. So I hope going through this question helped you process how to answer this type of question. If you have any questions for me or you would like me to make more videos, please let me know, and I will see you in a different one.